Okay, let's build my favorite hip harness for self-suspension. I find it's really comfortable for transitions, and it's super easy to modify to make it your own. A couple of disclaimers before we start. Shibari and rope suspension are inherently dangerous activities, so be careful out there. Also, this is a short video, so I definitely won't be able to cover all of the information that I'd like to, but I will be tying the entire harness and pointing out some keynotes as the video goes on in the background. If you have any questions or comments, or you'd like me to go more in depth into any element in this guide, please just let me know and I will be happy to oblige. To begin, as always, I'm running the full length of my rope to find my true middle bite. And I'm going to build a single column tie waistline, running the top of my hips. I'm securing this with a Somerville bowline. You can make whatever single column tie you prefer. Once I have this secured, I'm going to pull it down into a V shape while applying tension downward. Now I'll begin making my first pass of my thigh wrap, adjusting my first knot there to make sure it's in line with my belly button, and ensuring that my initial friction comes off towards the inside of my body, not the out. You can experiment with placement of this first friction. For me, I like it about a finger's distant from my original single column knot. Here I'm making my second pass, keeping both bands as equally tensioned as I can, while encouraging, again, a slight upside down V shape, which allows for better mobility in the air. Adding a second rope here in another color for clarity, and I'm just going to go ahead and mirror what I did on my first leg on my second leg. I'm paying attention here to make sure I've got equidistance for my two frictions in relation to my primary single column tie knot. I'm also just making sure it aligns up and feels comfortable with my anatomy. When I finish my series of frictions, I'm going to compact them all down so they stay nice and tight, and I'm going to run my working lines right across the top of my first leg's friction, recompacting it down a little bit, encouraging it in. Tuck, tuck, there we are. Now I'll be exiting to make my midline bands. I'm going to start low on my hip because my lines build upward as we go. And the next element we're going to be building is a bridge, and it's going to be a booty bridge. So I'm moving under both sets of my leg wraps while continuing to apply firm pressure, and I'm going to capture those two passes in a munter hitch. You'll kind of see here. So it's those two passes I'm going to capture, moving above and behind everything, exiting towards my crotch. This all can be a bit faffy, so a mirror can definitely help. To finish my munter, moving behind my initial band there. And now I'm going to take time to just make sure that both of the loops on either side of my bridge are even. I'm going to relay my leg lines so that they lay nice and flat like bands underneath those underneath the booty bridge rather. Much more comfortable in the air if you take the time to do that now. I'm continuing moving straight across again and atop my previous pass. I'm going to do a simple twist around the top of my booty bridge here, pulling up slightly to keep nice firm tension. Back to the front to add a final scrap of rope and make our final passes here. So again, straight across, nice firm tension. I'm going to create a half hitch here around both of these standing lines, kind of in the natural divot of my gluteal muscle. Play around with the positioning here for yourself to find a comfortable position. I'm also slightly pulling up on that line to encourage good firm tension and extra support. Here I'm grabbing my hip lines with a simple twist. I'm going to pull that hip line down just slightly for that V shape again. And now I'll mirror on the other side with a half hitch, again slightly encouraging those bands upward as I exit towards the front to secure this entire beast with a reverse half moon's friction. This is going to be a very tight series of weaves, so you'll see me periodically making sure I'm pulling my flesh and clothing away from the rope so it doesn't get pinched in any of my passes. I'm carefully cinching down the top part of my half moons friction so that I'm not overly tensioning my mid bands, but I am compacting as much as I can my half moons friction. Here I am finishing it. And now it's just about getting rid of those ends. I'm going to split my working ends and simply create an overhand knot to finish off. And here's the finished diamondback hip harness. There's lots of different ways that I've experimented with loading this for suspension. My personal favorite is with a single column tie right around everything there, around the entire bar. I've also practiced throwing epsilons around these locations that I'm kind of pointing out here. My favorite way to load the back is to crush down both of those bands into kind of a compacted diamond with an epsilon. I've also loaded it through the booty basket itself. As always, thank you for spending some of your time tying with me today. If you test out this harness, I would love to hear about it. I'd love to see it. I have a picture guide up for this one on my Tumblr as well, so if picture tutorials are more your thing, definitely check it out. Thanks again for stopping by, and I hope that the rest of your day runs like good roping and sort of pulls you along instead of pushing you. I'll see you next time.